What's up, YouTube? This is the Brooklyn Bounce channel. I'm back with Chapter 7 of Anthony's Boy, the Prince of Bath Avenue, the true story of former Bonanno family hitman Joey Calco, written by Richard Stanley Kagan. Chapter 7, Good Times. It's the 1980s, and I grew up. Some more in the beautiful times of freestyle music on the way and disco music on the way out. Run DMC and Madonna are jamming. The girls are all there with their puffy hairdos, and the Guidos with the gold chains and the gel in their hair. It's so funny looking back at our teenage days. We were a bunch of tough guys, me and my best friends. I can see them all now, even those who died or got killed. There's Tommy, T.K. Reynolds, Jimmy Calandra, Dean Bezzello, Fabrizio De Francisi, John Polionato, George Diadamo, and Paulie Galino. The Bath Avenue Boys. We hung out in the 17th Avenue Park with the Bath Avenue girls. Yeah, we also had the girls. We would all smoke pot and listen to music. Down the block from Bath Avenue was 17th Avenue Park, and we considered it to be our park. And nobody would mess with our park. We would have 4th of July cookouts, shoot off fireworks, and play basketball and handball, and make out with the girls. Sometimes we would go hang out at the 14th Avenue Park, which is between Dyker Heights and Bensonhurst. The two neighborhoods would share the park together and still be friends. But sometimes we would fight each other because they would flirt with our girls and want to sell pot on the corner. But we're the stronger crew and control the corner. Yeah, me and my friends are grown up now and are making names for themselves all in the neighborhood. We are starting to sell pot, steal cars to make money. The big boys in the neighborhood are starting to notice us. They are the wise guys, the guys in the mob, the made men, and the associates. We are making money, and money brings out the wolves. Money is like raw meat to these guys, and they go crazy when they see it, and they want it at any cost. So the wise guys move into our action and make us associates. Being an associate means that you are protected, but you are protected, and nobody can mess with you, or they have to mess with the whole family. There are cops who would try to stop our business and catch us, but we always get away. Now the wise guys are teaching us how to live in the mob. There is only one guy we all grew up with. His name was Giorgi Conti, and his last name was that as the movie The Actor The Godfather, Richard Conti. I liked him a lot. Giorgi's older than us, but we know him, and he'll be a big part of our training on the streets of Brooklyn. It's like going to school right there on the streets. But this is one school that we really like. George Conti was with the Lucchese family, which is one of the biggest and strongest of the 5 New York families. Oh yeah. We are to roll now. We are with Giorgi Conti and our associates of the Lucchese family. And we are just 14 years old, and we have a pot spot in the neighborhood to sell our products. We are stealing cars and everything that isn't nailed down. And even some stuff that is nailed down, as long as we can carry it away. And we're making a lot of money. We're making a lot of money for ourselves and for Giorgi Conti and the Lucchese family, which we are now part of. Now there are other young guys dealing drugs at the time, there was a big there was a big money selling. I'm sorry. There was big money selling pot to people. We started getting our pot spots around the neighborhood. One spot was down the block from where I lived. One spot was at Bay 11th at the schoolyard where we used to play as kids, where we had the best times of our lives. And now all that was gone forever because people now want to make money and didn't care how many kids and people they killed with their drugs to make it. Money became the god of the devil. Drugs and the lust for money became the gravedigger for a lot of innocent lives lost to drug addiction. Hey, if we didn't sell it, then somebody else would. Why shouldn't we be the ones to make the money instead of somebody else? It's only business. If people got hurt, it was really because they made up their own destiny, right? Right? They should have known that sometimes your destiny can kill you. Sometimes people were just made and meant to die by their own hands. Some people just have to learn the hard way, if you know what I mean. Now, I was just a young guy, but one thing bothered me. The guy who took the spot on Bay 11th in my schoolyard was not from Bay 11th or Bath Avenue. He was from Bay 17th. But I couldn't do anything about it because he was the guy, John Dunn, who had the spot. But I couldn't do anything about this because the guy, John Dunn, who had the spot, was older than me, and he was an associate of the Colombo family. And his future father-in-law was a made man in the Colombo family, so I would have to keep my mouth shut for now. We are moving a lot of pot and some other stuff, and things are good. We are making a lot of money. We are going to school and selling pot, getting to smoke for free. You can't do better than that. The neighborhood was changing and we were changing. And it was a change for the worse. Money does that to people. But we are having a good time and going to school and the clubs on the weekends. My brother Charlie was hanging out on 17th Avenue and 86th Street. This was a big hangout and a big pot spot. My brother and his friends ran that one. They were with this guy called Uncle Roy. He grew up in the neighborhood and was an associate of the mob. That was the mob law. That was the mob law that you had to live by if you wanted to keep living and making good money. We used to go to the club in New York City called the Fun House. That's the first time I saw Madonna. She was just starting to get out there and was her first time at the Fun House. We were just 14 and we were getting into the place. I remember the night the bouncer stopped us and asked us for our ID because we looked so young. I told him we were old enough to get in, and I mentioned the owner's name, which I knew from the boys back home, and that we were from Bath Avenue, and he stepped aside and let us waltz right in. In fact, they gave us a special table right at the front, up where I could almost touch Madonna. That was great for my first time. I think I fell in love again that night. One night, we're on our way back home from the Funhouse. We're in a stolen car, and we stop in the parking lot of the Manhattan Bridge. Me, Tommy, Anthony Cious, and Anthony Slok, Anthony Skunk, are going to smoke some pot. When it was nowhere, went out from nowhere, the cops came over and walk up to the car, bust us. So now the car is stolen. We are smoking a joint. We get out and the cops see that the car has no keys in it, so the cops say, "What's up, fellas? What are you doing on the bridge in a stolen car at 4 in the morning?" So we know we're screwed, and I say, "We're on our way home, found an abandoned car, we're trying to get it back to its rightful owner." So the cops look at us and laugh out loud like I'm a comedian or something. So the head cop says that if one of us would go back to the police station, the other one could walk back to Brooklyn and walk free. So we look at Anthony Skunk and say he should go with the cops because he's a juvenile and we're all adults, and he would be released in a couple hours. But he didn't want to go with them, so they took all of us in and booked us and put us in the lockup. Now this is very bad because we all have to call our parents to come get us. And I know that at least one father who has a Fusino hanging in the wall of his kitchen, and does not make me feel this does not make me feel very happy. In fact, I fear for my own life at this point. We get back into the neighborhood and see Anthony Skunk, and me and Tommy. I'm sorry. We get back to the neighborhood and we see Anthony Skunk, and me and Tommy call him over to start beating his ass for not taking the rap for the rest of us. This is not the last time I will be arrested. It's part of life when you grow up in the streets of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn in the 1980s. Now, I start to sell pot on my own spot on 17th Avenue Park for myself. I make up a new pot spot even though John Dunn is selling pot up on a block in the schoolyard of Bay 14th Street. Yeah, I started to take his customers, so screw him. Business is business. This is my block, not his. I'll sell anything I want to anyone I want. If he's got a problem with that, we'll deal with it. So he comes down and tells one of my dealers that he better stop selling to me. So I try and do the right thing. Instead of whacking him right there on the street, I go to George Conti and tell him that this guy John Dunn is making threats to my dealer. So Georgie tells me that he will speak to John Dunn and get everything straightened out, so that I shouldn't sell anything at this time. So I obey him. I see the money flying out of my hands into John Dunn's hands, and he's laughing at me. A few days go by, I'm losing money. Georgie comes to me and says he had to sit down with John Dunn, and his father-in-law got involved. In the matter, and that we lost the decision, and we have to get out of the park. I do not like the decision, and I feel like whacking John Dunn, his father-in-law, and George Conti all at the same time. And I should do this. I should do this thing immediately, but I only do it in my mind, which now is red hot, which now is a red hot ball of fire. Sorry about that. I can't believe that I have to get out of my own park for this Finocchio, but I don't. But I do it anyway because I have to play by the mob rules, no matter how crooked they are. The thieving bastards, I say to myself. Okay, they win. I have to be smart and listen up to George Conti. I go back to 14th Park and help my friends. I go back to 14th Park and help my friends deal pot. I'm making $100 a night for 4 hours of work. I call it work because it's not. I call it work because it's not real work like my father is doing, but it brings home the money to support our family. That is real work. real good, honest work, and everyone should be proud of it. Anyway, that's what my father tells me. But at this age, I don't buy it. I think I think that anybody who works hard for a living to support his family is a fool. Why break out your why break your back laying bricks when you can sell pot and crack, which is the real you can sell pot and crack, which is a real bad thing, which is a real bad drug that comes around later. You can make a lot more money selling dope to a bunch of fools for a lot less work. You got to be a fool to break your back for only a few bucks and then have to give a big part of it to the government because the government bastards make you pay income tax on it. What a freaking joke this is. I think to myself, I don't tell my father because he's a good guy and he's thankful that he can make money and he's here in this country, which is a lot easier to do than in San Salvador, Sicily. And that he is why he was here in the first place. One night I go to the local bar in the neighborhood that is owned by Rocky Marcel, who is the Don. Rocky Marcel, sorry, who is John Dunn's father-in-law. I go there not thinking anything is going to go wrong, and who do I see working at the bar? It's John Dunn. So I'm having drinks. I get called to the back by this guy who looks like a gorilla. I follow him to an office in the back of the bar. I walk in and see John Dunn with his gun in his hand. The gorilla closes the door behind me, and John Dunn puts his gun in my face. I thought I was dead at the moment, but it didn't happen. That's a big mistake. Mistake number one on John Dunn's behalf. He should have killed me when he had the chance. Screw him, I think to myself very softly, with a straight, flat poker face on my seething countenance, from which is ready to explode. He doesn't know it, but I have to kill him when I get a chance. I gotta be smart and patient. I know that the blessed day will come when I send John Dunn to heaven with a bullet spinning around inside his brain. He says that if I deal pot in the neighborhood like it was his, he's going to kill me. So I look him in his eyes, in which I see a blink of weakness, and I tell him, go ahead and kill me because I'm not going to stop selling anything. I want to sell in my neighborhood. So he looks at me like I'm crazy. And his faggot gorilla friend throw me in the back alley and punch me in the face. Mistake number two. He just started a war with me that will last a long time and will win it. Yeah, me, a 15-year-old little gangster. Okay, for now, we'll just play it by ear. Impressive? Just wait. And let time take its course, I say to myself. Choose your battle and always take the high ground wherever you have the advantage over the enemy. I don't forget so easily, especially when a creep sticks a gun in my face and threatens to kill me. After that, life goes on, and me and my friends are moving up, and a lot of big things happen in the neighborhood that are going to change the whole history of the New York Mafia forever. It will also change all the Costa Nostra organizations in New Jersey, Chicago, Boston, Philly, the whole country. Things will never be the same again like they did in the old days when people respected our thing and didn't fall out of time. The Mafia was established over 500 years ago And over 100 years ago, in the United States, nobody in the organization could ever think that the mafia and the New York style. I'm sorry. Nobody in the organization could ever think that the mafia and the New York style of that protection that the people of Sicily created from their blood and courage against the French who occupied Sicily during the 14 and 1500s would ever be brought down by one of New York's notorious wise guys. No one would ever think that La Cosa Nostra would ever be destroyed by one man. That one man's name is John Gotti, the Dapper Don. Alright guys, I'm going to break this. I'm going to stop for a little bit because my throat is hurting. I got another 5 pages left in chapter 7. Give me about an hour and I'm going to post another video up with the rest of it. Alright? Sorry about that. I read for as long as I could. I just got to give my throat a rest. If this is the first time you're listening, I'm sorry guys. I have a vocal cord injury that's permanent, permanent voice damage. So sometimes I have to stop. But I promise I'll get the rest of it up to you guys. Please like, please dislike, please comment, please subscribe. I got my first Cash App donation yesterday. Thank you, person who donated, would like to remain anonymous. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I'll be back later on with the rest of this chapter. Please like, share, and subscribe and help grow my channel. Thanks. Bye.